Welcome to you all, greetings to you all, and welcome to today's Kāwhia board meeting. I'd like to open the meeting and talk to Kāwhia, please.
Tēnā koe te mana, ka ingo I tātou. He kaumana wā hihiri, he kaumana wā rarama. He kaumana wā ki te karakia, he kaumana wā ki te tangata. He kaumana wā ki te aroha, he kaumana wā ki ka hiki, he kaumana wā ka toko u, te pau, maia te pau, he kaumana wā ora hui, hai I. Nō reira, tēnā tātou.
Just and before we get into the meeting, I'd just like to, on behalf of the board, acknowledge the passing of King Kāwhia and the ascension of the Queen, Queenie Ngāwhia. And another deviation from the procedure is with Andrew Lowe, our mentor for so many years out here left this last meeting, and we've got a new Andrew Lowe. New right-hand man. So Tony put forward. He's doing the ODC this year and from Waipā District. But I've asked Tony if he'd like an opportunity to say a few words and
Nama he's ke koe chair ko te Mātima ko te awa ko ngā mutu whāngiam ro ko katoru whāngi maho for nothing tuatahi te iwi, Thank you for the introduction. I'm really pleased to be able to sit here and support the Great North Community Board and have it.
Apologies. We have apologies from Councillor Jeffries. Do we have a second for that?
I'll second.
Moving on to the public forum. And we've got a feeling that welcome to all the public members today too, and to the public forum. It's an important part of how Kāwhia does its thing, and it's not something that you see in other meetings that the council organises. So I really do appreciate that you have enough time to come along and say your piece, okay? But I just thought because we've got four of us today, I thought I'd better just read out how the public forum works. And the public forums are designed to enable members of the public to bring matters, not necessarily on the meeting's agenda, to the attention of council. Requests to attend the public forum meeting must be made on the form available on the council website. Speakers can speak for up to 5 minutes. No more than 2 speakers can speak on behalf of an organisation during a public forum. At the conclusion of the presentation, elected members may ask questions of speakers. Questions are to be confined to obtaining information or clarification on matters raised by the speaker. Following the public forum, no debate or decision to be made during the meeting on issues raised in the forum unless related to items already on the agenda. I'll ask the submitters to be seated here because that gives them a microphone to talk into. Please be aware that the meeting is live streamed and recorded. And please respect the key of the meeting in our meeting, okay? Thank you. Our first public forum speaker is Steve Morris, and this is on the obvious issue that we've got with our public roads and the safety of. Steve, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I wrote this.
I'll give you at 4 minutes, okay?
At 4 minutes, okay. Yes, I put this letter together, which was supposed to come before the board in the previous meeting, which was cancelled. And it's regards misuse of vehicles on public roads and reserves in Kāwhia. Tēnā koe tānia ngā mihi. I'm writing to you to express concerns that I have in regards to reckless and careless use of vehicles on Te Puria Road, Tom French Grove, public reserves and streets of Kāwhia Township. The destructive activity extends from Te Putia Reserve all the way to Tom French Grove at the end of Te Puria Road, which runs through the forest. This is an area of great concern because of the potential risk of forest fires. Another area of concern is the Kāwhia Cemetery car park, which adjoins the War Memorial Museum. This is a disgrace and shows total disregard for our family members who are buried there. Not only is this activity destructive, but also a possible danger to people's lives. I would like to recommend to Tauranga District Council that a discussion take place amongst all interested parties, i.e. Tauranga District Council, Tainui Kāwhia Incorporation, local businesses, local police and the public of Kāwhia in order to try and achieve an outcome to end this problem. I would also call on the Tauranga District Council to give consideration to lobby government to pass laws that would impose stricter regulations in order that this activity may be stopped. I do support any initiatives that will enhance the safety of the public and the well-being of Kāwhia Township and its streets and reserves. So I regard this matter as a high priority and call upon the Tauranga District Council to adopt the same objective. I look forward to your response to my letter and that I will be in attendance at the next Community Board meeting in support of this letter and any proposed initiatives that may follow. Anō Paimare nā Stephen Morris.
Well, we can leave it through, I've seen a copy of that. You've got something else there?
Well, I just picked this up out of the Waitomo Times. It was just a few days after I'd actually put this letter together, and it was an initiative by the Waipa District Council in terms of boy racing and all of the problems they were having out there. And it was Waikato Times, 30th of the 8th, 24, Crystal Yardley. AA spokesperson Dylan Thompson is pleased to see authorities taking the boy racer issues seriously. New Waipa bylaw should give police more power when it comes to boy racers in the district. Waipa District Council has passed a public places bylaw confirming there are roads where light vehicle prohibition is in place. A new bylaw by Waipa District Council means police now have the power to issue warnings, notices and impound cars of the rule breakers. That's just a possible means by which it can be possibly curtailed. Bylaws.
Is there anything else you want to add?
I think that's well, primarily. I think it. This is rather a big issue, and we all hear that it's happening from one end of the country to the other. But I think that we have to take ownership of our own communities in this situation, and I think the key here is the paragraph that talked about interested parties coming on board to find solutions. Tauranga District Council, Tainui Kāwhia Incorporation, local businesses, local police and the public of Kāwhia to try and achieve an outcome to end this problem. Yeah.
You want board members, have you got any questions, Steve?
Steve?
Dave?
Have you sent any correspondence to the police?
Have I?
Sent any correspondence to the police?
It's a law and order matter, isn't it?
Well, yeah, well, if you want to be specific about it, really, it affects everyone, especially when the boy races start, heading onto your, yes, police have power, but the council can also give them the power as well through bylaws. And then the community must act also to be a part of that whole process, Dave. It's not just one segment of a community that's going to solve the issue. It's got to be a combined effort with some proper solutions put in place.
But what it does be is the community board council, we really have no power to do anything as such, set the bylaws like stables. I'm not sure.
Well, the Tauranga District Council has got powers.
More, but I believe it's more the police matter that needs to be brought to their attention. And also now, especially us not having a resident issue for.
Yeah, well, we can't bury our heads in the sand and ignore it, Dave. Can we?
Just want to clarify, that's a good idea, Steve. That will investigate it. It's in the minutes that I have.
Yeah, I've got the name of the man who is the head of that transport manager for Waipa District Council. His name is Brian Hudson, Waipa District Council. He was the one that's behind the bylaw. Yeah, and it would work particularly well on Kāwhia Road because the bylaw is in place where roads where there's no adjoining roads to it, and the vehicles don't have to be seen to be skidding for the police to enact once the bylaw is in place. As long as it's reported that those vehicles are in that area at certain hours where the bylaws close the road off, then the police can act. That's just one solution.
Just a comment on your comment, Dave, about the police. I'm sure that there's a solution coming very soon, permanent solution. Yes. And I think a lot of people in this room have met with the temporary one at the moment. And I think a lot of people are pretty impressed with the way that. Steve?
Yep.
Thank you for your presentation.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Oh, Jeanette, are you doing the presentation or Kathy? Jeanette, are you doing the presentation, mate? Kāwhia Museum.
Thank you.
This is the book here, Kāwhia Museum.
Yes.
I had Kathy rifle down and then I saw.
No, that's me. Sorry. Thank you for the opportunity to update you on what's been happening in the museum. It's a lot. It probably started back in 22 and it's continued through last year and this year. And so this is a very good time to come back. We're really, really privileged with the museum to actually be on the foreshore in the old county council building, which was built back in 1915 and 1916. And in 1990 it became the museum building, which we're very grateful for. And over a year, we have 4,000 visitors coming through our doors. And that's a lot for a little museum in a small place. But time had had its mark on the museum in many, many ways. The most visible was the entrance reception area, which was the original wallpaper from back in 1916. And it had been painted, it was discoloured, and it was peeling off the walls. We managed each time to try and put desks in front of it, but up around the top, you just couldn't avoid it. It was peeling off. The lighting was really poor. You go into a very dark, dismal space, which is quite a contrast to the rest of the museum, which had had a good upgrade in 2015. So we put lots of applications into the funding. We need 20,000 from the quotes that we got. And we managed to get the 20,000 from 4 organisations: the Otahuanga Community Fund, Trust Waikato, Waipa Networks, and the Otahuanga Charitable Trust. And that final 5,000 that came in was sort of like a whippy moment. I thought we were never going to get there. So the walls are now reclad with grooved ply above a dado rail and smooth ply below it, and it's all been painted and it's very bright. We've got 2 tracks of lighting that's in there, and we're ready now to start doing the design phase. So it's a blank canvas ready for the next steps of refurbishment. The design is underway, and this area will showcase the richness of Kāwhia's pre- and post-colonial histories, where both Maori and colonial stories will be honoured and celebrated. So at the moment the walls are blank, but the design is happening and it sounds it's going to be pretty good. We want Manahiri, visitors who come into the museum, to feel that they've stepped back in time as they enter a uniquely Kāwhia space. Over the time, over the next 6 or so months, this space is going to be absolutely transformed. So I invite you to go in. We've also had a door put in to block the ugly kitchen off, so it's looking really good. We've also got, in the museum, we are contracted, we have an agreement with the Otahuanga District Development Board to provide services during the week, 20 hours, where we have a paid part-time museum and information officer to have the doors open during the week, every day in the summer, and we have volunteers in the weekend. And we're very fortunate to know that we've had our agreement put out for another 3 years and it's secure, so that's really good. So we do the front of the museum, the reception area. We are going to be upgrading that in terms of information services so that people will go in and they'll give a visual and a sound display of what they can come and see and do in Kāwhia. So it's a big sort of lease. So less visible and perhaps the most important one that we've made is the transformation to the Constitution. We had to re-register the Constitution, and it was made back in 1990, and back then things were very different. In this treaty, in our Constitution, even though it's in Kāwhia, the heart of Tainui country, no mention of Te Tiriti o Waitangi at all. It was a product of its time, and that needed to change after 33 years. So first we needed to connect with the community. We knew that our existing members couldn't do it, and so we connected with the community through meeting, talking, had hui, and we now have representatives from Ngāti Hikairo, Ngāti Maniapoto, Ngāti Mahuta, and Ngāti Te Wehi on members and full decision rights. And that is just transforming the conversations in terms of what we'll actually, we will have there. We've done a lot of work of engaging with the community, and we've done this through things like speakers. So we've had Frank Thorne talking about all the history of the streets in Kāwhia. Delighted to see you there. It was lovely. In fact, one of our members is here today, Annie Mahara. Annie is the Ngāti Taweki representative. Where was I? When we started doing the constitution, we also realised that to be an incorporated society, which we are, we have to have 10 members of our society. We have none. We had 0. So with our speakers like Frank Thorne, Marama Murulating, and also Fina Toomey, who is expert on transforming museums to tell the stories about the local community, they were speakers and drew a huge number of people in. So our membership has gone from 0 to 28, and we're delighted. We're well over what we need. So we can now re-register as an incorporated society. We do plan lots more speaking series, but always around Kāwhia, something that's really gets local people. So we are now in the position that the treaty is well and truly embedded in our constitution. The language of the constitution is in both Te Reo, Māori, and in English, and for all sort of main heading parts. The kaupapa is all in terms of Māori, mana whenua, and it's a totally changed document. In fact, we're very lucky with our new members, the mana whenua members, because 2 of them are actually museum experts. One lectures in museum studies, and the other is a master's student for museum studies. And this is all that we've now got in our little museum. Where are we? Yeah, so the big challenge ahead for us now is getting the design up, and I think that's going to take the next 6 months to do. And then the museum committee, and I won't be part of it because I will be moving from Kāwhia, has to have some big courageous conversations and challenging thinking to move towards a strategic plan now that we've actually got a constitution, to then say, what is this museum going to be in the community? What is it going to deliver? And we want to know that we can draw local people in just as much as we do the regional and across the motu and people from overseas. So it's going to be a very different space. It'll become like an interesting museum. People will say that they love it when they come in, but it's really a museum of curios. It's not telling stories. You go around and you look at things. We want to turn this now, the whole space, each of the rooms, into places that tell stories. And that's what you should expect to see coming out of it. So thank you for the opportunity to update you.
No, but I just wanted to say that the AGM I did attend was one of the most interesting AGMs I've ever attended. I thought it was an excellent job. It was an excellent day.
Having a speaker for the AGM, I mean, in the past, we've managed to get, say, 5 people, 7 people coming along. And if you came, you were on the committee, you know, pretty well, you'd have to be the committee because we were meant to have 9 and we never ever managed to get that. And by having a speaker coming in, that just made all the difference. People wanted to hear what she was saying. Her topic is the sacred sands of Kāwhia, and she has a huge project, contract with MB, Ministry of Business Innovation, that is going to be focusing on Kāwhia. And I think has all that context here for it. Yes.
I know you are the driving force there, but I mean, a lot of this money that's going on. But I would say just acknowledge you and also the committee and the iwi that are involved with where the museum is at now. So I think that we get a company, you know.
It's an important point. The museum is now Te Whare Tāna o Kāwhia Museum. People will use whatever they are really comfortable with, but we're using the language all the time of Te Whare Tāna.
Thank you very much for the input. Nobody volunteers and used to be called on going with and others being on things, not a volunteer. So we should have. So thank you from the board for your input down the end of the. Thank you. Bob? For the stuff. It's a lot of lawn lines, I'm afraid.
Kia ora, I'm Horahane Scott. For those of you that don't know me, I wear quite a few hats in Kāwhia, but today I'm here to speak as a concerned Kāwhia resident. Just like all of you at the table there, you have got Kāwhia at the heart, otherwise you wouldn't be sitting there and the people of Kāwhia would not have elected you fellas to be there. So we are all in the same boat. What I'm actually wanting to speak on is the support for our locals, namely Mere and Ray Turner, who lost their contract, and the contract was given out to an outsider. And I believe, I just read another pānui in the Facebook in regards to the pānui that was put up about Ray and Mere, that this also happened earlier to Merv Lane. Now, my concern is that if we think back to the start of COVID, we all got together and helped one another. This lotto here on monogram for the Māori Women's Welfare League states tātou tātou, which is you, me, and everybody else here. And we're all for the benefit of each other. So my concern is that this contract that Mere and Ray had, they were doing a wonderful job. Everyone in Kāwhia, even yous would know that their work was immaculate, was always tidy, and yet they lost their contract. And I think, you know, it is up to us as Kāwhia residents, if we think of our paradise here, it is up to us to support each other. And that is why I'm here today, is to tell you that I am in support of Mere and Ray. And also I didn't know about Merv Lane losing it, and that we should all be sticking up for one another. During COVID, Kāwhia did wonders because we all went out and helped one another. You know, we had the food bank that went out. Dr. John went and had a support group. We formed that group and helped Dr. John get out to the patients. And that's what Kāwhia is all about, helping one another. And I'm just relying on the community board because our members put you there and you wanted to be there because you wanted the best for Kāwhia. So that's all I'm saying, is that I support Mere and Ray, and I don't know who it was that lost their contract or why they lost their contract. It wasn't because of their workmanship. Their workmanship was immaculate. And, you know, we've all got to be proud of what they were doing. So what I'm asking is that the Kāwhia Community Board please help look after our locals. No, that's all I've got to say. Thank you. Oh, do I have to answer that? No. Okay, far away.
I don't think that you're the only one who's disappointed that they didn't keep that contract. And it's a concern to, I would think, most board members. And we're
Yes.
all pretty disappointed with that process. But, yeah, I agree 100% with what you've just said.
Yeah, see, I knew you was to support Kāwhia. Yeah.
I'd just like to say, Merv's probably not a good example here because he lost his contract to Fred Lee.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. All I heard was that, the comment was, oh, that happened to Merv when he had it. So I just took it as that was the same thing. But thank you for that. Yep.
Yeah, Ray came to visit myself.
Yeah.
And of course, I took all Ray in meeting, but there's a process that maybe the chair had explained the process that was taken to where we are now.
Okay,
So not enough, but totally support both of you,
thank
just
you.
so you know.
So you got to tell me something.
Yeah. You understand the tender process?
Yeah, but what is the process?
Well, you know, the local bodies are bound by board. For the tender process, yeah, the bad contracts are shipped to that. So, and that's how Ray and Billy run it 5 years ago, when they tender process and they do follow it. The tender process came around this time and Ray and Billy's tender hired the winning team.
Okay.
And yes, I'm sitting here feeling for Ray. I worked with Ray back in the day, and I supported him through his time to go ahead. Maybe, but I feel good. No. In terms of the new contractor, yes, I appreciate the comments on quality. But we need to be aware that the eco-local contract, it was too hard to get around because hell we were doing. And then he was bought on spring growth, and I was not there. But put it this way, we're getting into the season now, which not growing as well, as hard, and I think we'll see an improvement. But then my sympathy seems to go out to Ray, and I understand your comment. But as a community board, it's out of our hands. Operationally, we can't do it.
Thank you.
But thank you so much. Okay.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I think it's just explaining the process so it's clear that everybody knows what the process is. Because I actually learned about the process after when Ray came to visit me as well. So I think it's just making it clear. Do you understand the process now, Kura?
Not really.
Yeah.
The tender documents go out and they've got a scope of work. That
Yeah.
People can price that contract. Right?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
it's not always the cheapest price that wins a contract. It's the best package that's put together, so it's not, it might not be a pricing thing. But sometimes the range of contract value is too high.
Did they come out and visit the place?
Oh, yeah, I should imagine so.
Well, I mean, they would have seen the workmanship. Get them to come out again now.
I'm sure every board member here in this room is monitoring.
Yeah, and compare what it was when they were doing it.
I'm speaking for myself.
Yep.
I'm not driving around.
No, thank you. I trust the board to
There is
do
a
whatever.
performance component in any contract.
Yep.
Okay.
Through you, Mr. Chair, just to clarify, we do not sit at the decision table.
Okay.
The Kāwhia Community Board, we don't sit at the table to decide who is, so where the tender goes to. So just so that everyone knows that.
Yeah.
It's not a process given to us, okay, here's the price range. here's the
Okay.
tender you make. And
Yeah.
that's not even the elected member of the job, and I'm a district as well, the population. And
So
that's-
should Ray or Meta come to see the board and get guidance? Or whoever, you know, when this contract is up to,
So as board members, we can't be involved.
oh, okay. Conflict of interest, is it? Okay, thank you. Yes,
Just
Mr.
one point. I've met Ray a couple of times over this issue, and outside of the money argument or the value of the contract, I've got to say here and now that I'm very disappointed that Ray didn't get more assistance when he was trying to put his contract together. And I think that's an issue that this board can look at.
That's the
'Cause I
point that I
think
was
that,
trying to get at, if
yeah.
those that are applying, you know,
And answer that. I wasn't here that way, and we've gone through the tender process when
Yeah. And And the issue being also is that if it's a tender process, there is an element of how correct is it for you to assist someone to put a tender in, but based on financial things. But there's still a position that can be done where if they're local people, I don't see why there shouldn't be a liaison officer within the council that can help these people to understand better the process so that the attenders can be more, I don't know, relevant, perhaps is a good term. So I've got it down in my general business.
People, I believe part of the new contract thing that he started still through a performance space.
Yeah.
You know, we see that the new guys doing it and doing it through a standard, and that gets monitored. And I think that's the stage we're at the moment.
Okay.
Thank you. The performance criteria is fairly cut and dry, very black and white.
Thank you.
And it depends on the level. Okay.
I don't. Yep. Thank you.
Moving on to our fourth and final, Les Phillips. We've got a funding request for the Kāwhia Kite Festival.
Right. Right, I'm getting here eventually.
That's okay.
Right, there's three of us here. And
Only two of us left.
where's, only two of us. Right, no. We're here asking, can I sit down? Thank God. We are asking for the community board to help us put on a Kai Fest, or help the Kai Fest to get started again. And
Board members, page 51 on the agenda.
And of course, it's we can go through all sorts of things about what the great things about it, but I think for Kāwhia people and for a community board, I would say the most important thing is that people come to Kāwhia to come home, and they especially do it at Kai Fest weekend for years. This is what happened here until COVID. Everybody came home to Kāwhia, and it was fantastic. And that's what drove the thing, and I think it can happen again. So there's more technical things you might like to say, but that's how I feel that it's your responsibility to help these people come home.
Kia ora tātou. Yeah, you're aware that we are set up just recently to reinstate, that's the word, the Kai Festival. We've got a very good team of young minds and people who have been there in the past to get this going. On the 8th of February, Waitangi weekend, 2025. Makatu is the venue, and we're going through the pros and cons of all that in terms of our setting up traffic management. I understand that we don't have to apply for a traffic management. We have a traffic management plan, but it's on private land. Yeah, so Les, on behalf, applied for grants and finance that we're working on now, and we think we could make it around Christmas time with grant application for grants, and we're looking at sponsors and that to get us through. We're reasonably comfortable at this point in time. Your grant, discretionary grant, will certainly help us, and we'd like to think that you could help us in that, and that a successful application in that grant. So we've got Bruce Lees, the governance of our committee. I'm chairing it, so you can ask us questions and we can give you some answers.
It's going to be held down at Makatu Marae.
Yes.
And you've asked for $2,000.
No, that's, we know that there's a grant available with the community board. Yeah, and we're asking for $2,000 from you,
Yep,
yes.
yep. That's all I needed to know.
Tēnā o koutou, mō tō whakapō, principal. I just have a question. In this application of the visa, it's got that should qualify for $2,000. Are you able to break the $2,000 down, what you're wanting that for?
Yes, it's to cover, we've got already made a couple and got grants to this point. We're successful with a grant from the Waipa Network. The breakdown is around some administration costs. There's things like toilets, the refuge from the ground, waste management and all that. So the breakdown would it will include some of those costs.
When you apply for any funding, it's just a little bit of advice, just to break down what that funding is for, so that we know as a board what the breakdown instead of it just being $2,000.
Absolutely, yeah.
The second question is, will there be a charge for entry fee?
Yes, we have been successful prior to COVID with a gold coin. We are selling a gold coin, so that's an entry fee. We have stores for sale, around about 40 of those. We're still working on what sort of charge that we're going to apply to that. There's some food here left over from the last Kai Festival that will still be in trust through the Kāwhia Charitable Trust that was running at that time. Yes, so.
Because the ingoing and outgoing, like, so you're going to be having the charge at the gate and also charging the store.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sounds great.
Just wondered, are you going to be applying to the Otago District Development Board again as well?
We've applied with the council and we've got a grant from Otago District Council so far. We're currently applying with the, not quite sure what the organisation is, which is a bigger grant that we can apply for, and that's in process at the moment.
Mate, I must admit, you know, I was like in the review when we expect this local event to still qualify for $2,000. You did put that, the local event applies for funding and apply for funding. That was all a little bit of confusion there. But certainly, it's an expensive event to put on. So might I suggest you consider inflation with your entry fee, and maybe a gold coins out the window now, make it a paper note or something.
Well, we're mindful that the past Kai Festival has been around a family day. If we have a gold coin, and we're pretty keen on retaining that, the people can spend, families can, it's a family experience, and it's been, you know, the bulk of our, you know, I've been able to run the Kai Festival. So families can go in there and spend their money on food, and when we provide local entertainment. So we're not in the business to raise money for bigger bands, but it has been successful in the last 3 years. So we're not there to make a profit, cover our costs. We're there to I guess we ask you to give a grant to us where we can give back to the community afterwards. If there's the surplus of money, we think about our local schools, our emergency service, and the helicopter service that are vital to this community. Absolutely, and we're mindful of that. The fact that we have a gold coin and people say, is that it? And they'll normally throw a $50 at. And so what we're aiming for is a family experience and celebrating the Tiki o Waitangi on Waitangi Day. And if we can do that and be able to give it to our community in ways that supports our community. And it's
one thing, if the event doesn't go ahead, would you return respect fund or allocation?
No, it's not going. It'll go ahead. It'll go ahead. Actually, there's no B plan in that.
2014, I was involved with the original Kāwhia Festival. Now, the knuckle of why starting that festival, Kāwhia Festival, was to bring back our traditional pipe.
Yes.
The fact is that the preparation and that was evolved, and then it grew bigger and bigger. And I totally go with the family, bringing back home the whānau and everything. It's beautiful. We actually put a charge on the gates. Yes. And eventually, over the 2 years, we didn't actually have to apply for any funding because the future that was collected actually paid for the Kāwhia support itself. It's just a bit of information. So we didn't have to come to community board, we didn't have to go to development board, we didn't have to apply for grant because what we had charged at the gate paid for that festival, and also we had future left over to start the next festival. So just to give a bit of a colour behind how the running of it can successfully be, because the goal was we did start off like this, but the goal was that we don't keep on going back asking for funds all the time.
I take your point.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you're just there for the seed funding now because of the financial event.
So in the past, at this point in time, we're starting from scratch. Okay, so that's hence the reason for the grants that we need to apply. I tell you, our budget is 34,000. We're comfortable with our income of half that from the takings of the gate and what we can generate from the stalls, and a few odds and ends from sponsors. And I'm talking about Kāwhia Incorporation, which I spoke to them today. I'm talking about, we have a management team up there from Waipa Forest Management who's managing the logging, and they're willing to give. So I don't know, there's TKI, this type of award that we can give us whatever. We're not so in essence we are looking at $12,000 to $15,000 to raise, and I want that as chairman to be in our pockets by Christmas. I think we're getting really close to that at this point in time. Like I say, we don't have a B plan. It'll work. We'll be there. Come and join us. 8th of February.
Thank you, Honey. Thank you for that presentation, Lee. Thank you for picking up the plan again for Kāwhia Festival. It was we were playing with some, not just Kāwhia, we were playing with some New Zealand, it's a TripAdvisor, it's some Lonely Planets and everything. You can still see it on Lonely Planet as one of the things that we're doing.
It is an icon, and Ben, we want to retain that and want everybody to come to paradise.
I would say we'd be very happy to promote an event before the Kāwhia study. Thank you, Alan.
We look forward to your grant.
what happens now, I know it's right at the end where it comes to this funding. Thank you, board members, for that round.
Yeah, I shouldn't think so.
And thank you to the public forum members that have been here today. Appreciate it. Late items, are there any late items? Declaration of interest. I do have a declaration of interest when it comes to item 27 on the agenda, which is the Kāwhia price and book exchange. It'll be page 31. So the recommendation of the Kāwhia Community Board receive the declaration of a conflict of interest from Edward for items 31 and direct conflict of the report and notice of this account of conflict of interest. Moving to that. All right, confirmation of minutes from our last meeting, which was September. Can I take those, can I have someone move that that's a true and correct record? Move to be on behalf of Secretary? Oh, you will go, we'll go. Yes. Yeah, you will. Second up, yeah, second up. Is there anything from those minutes?
Yes. I'd just like a bit of clarification.
What page though?
On the Kāwhia storyboards that we've got in here, I have a question that may, hopefully someone will be able to answer it. The storyboards, will they be? I'm just looking in the minutes of the old meet of the minutes project in the minutes from last month.
What page?
Or the month before.
I think it's page 11. No.
Oh, it is page 11. Yep. Okay, so my question is that will the storyboards be in English and Māori?
Anything else from those minutes?
Yep.
Through the head, yeah.
I had emailed,
Kaya?
with the word, okay, Deputy Chairperson, you noted a query from the last meeting about the inclusion of Pākehā stories. I wouldn't have used the word Pākehā, I would have used the word European. I changed that.
Anything else, members? No. Right. Meetings. We move into the decision report. And it's item 26, page 15, and you weren't. Okay, yeah, sorry. Yeah. Right, and now, board members, I do trust that you've read this report regarding the Pahuta Kāwhia trees.
Yep.
You want to speak to it?
Thank you.
Paul,
Through
floor is
you,
yours.
Mr. Chairman. Yeah, Paul Strange, I'm the roading manager. So yeah, the report for a decision on the, I think it's about 10 Pahuta Kāwhia trees. We were torn, but we think, yeah, we should be consulting with the public before we come to the board to make a decision to remove or keep the trees.
Is there any questions from board members on the report? It's comprehensive and with a solid recommendation, I feel.
Yep. I've read the report and I have one question for you. And it is the 4.6. The removal of the trees will also enable council to construct a new gravel footpath closer to the wall and the yellow zone to be a buffer between pedestrians and traffic. The gravel path can be concreted once the steam wall stability is confirmed. I'm not in favour of that. I would like to see that area grassed until that seawall sets down. That seawall is in pretty bad condition. I have no problem with the removal of the trees. I just want to see that area grass. And then until there is a time period that says just what's going to happen. If we're going to go and put concrete paths or anything like that there, I want that seawall repaired or in a better condition that it's in. So as far as removing the trees to stop it deteriorating, I'm fully in favour of that. But I'm not in favour of us putting a pathway along there until we can establish exactly what's going to happen with that seawall once those trees have been removed.
About 4.6,
Yep.
it's saying a gravel path will be put in place first.
I don't see a need for a gravel
You'd
path.
have to
I
have
just
some
think
sort
that
of-
is extra money and extra cost for the community.
Yeah.
I think there's nothing wrong with grass here. It's a mown edge. People can walk on grass, you know, we do that all the time. And so I think it allows plenty of pedestrian traffic there. I just don't see a need for us to put a gravel pathway there or a concrete path until we can establish exactly what's happening with that seawall.
There's a sort
So I
of
think
gravel
the
path.
seawall's
there.
going to need work, and at that point, you might be able to put a pathway in.
I understand what you're saying, but there's a gravel path there now, sort of thing. So it'll be retaining the gravel path, wouldn't it?
I would suspect a truckload of dirt to fill in the holes where the stumps come out would be a lot cheaper than a
No,
gravel
you know, I'm
path.
saying where they're walking now could just retain that. Would that be the plan? What's there now? You just take the trees out and retain them. Looking at the photo on page 16. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
In
the
fact,
idea was that we weren't very happy with the yellow painted part because it's too close to the road, particularly now we've got a few logging trucks coming through town. And gravel is actually cheaper for us to put in and look after than grass.
You don't have to mow the gravel.
And we can keep an eye on the wall and see what's happening without having to spend too much money above it, and it will be usable.
And you look at the people now using that, and there's push bikes and people in prams and all sorts of stuff, you know. You imagine what a grass burn would do in the middle of winter, eh? But I can see your point. Any other questions for Member Hughes?
Through you, Mr. Chair. Has anyone been in contact with Mana Whenua, the Rūrana Move for Ngāti Whaiho? There is an MOU between the council and the Rūrana.
Can't answer that question, I don't think so.
I'm sure if that's part of the process, it'll happen. Yeah.
There's a consultation process in there that I suspect we'd go along with that.
Is there anything else? Board Member Walsh, any questions? No. Board Member Few, any other questions? No. Yeah, I think it's an appropriate time to do something about those trees, both in terms of the stability of the seawall. Dave, you've always said it's a problem that's never going to go away. And with the increase in heavy logging traffic coming through this place, all you need to do with two trucks crossing on the same path, same time as the pedestrian. We need more room out there. So the recommendation is your staff recommendation.
Well, there's 4 recommendations, but recommendation 2 is the one that I'm in favour of, outside of not having a pathway. But there's 4
Yeah.
is there? Yeah,
No, there's
4.
only one. Like page 15, item 3 down the bottom. There's 4 options.
Page 18,
Yeah,
option 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, there's 4 options, but they're recommending one option.
What page are you looking at?
Page 15.
You're recommending option 4.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Option 2, carry out so option 2 is carry out a 3-week consultation process, and on completion of the consultation, a further report be brought back to the community board for consideration and a final decision on the tree. The pros of that is the public have a chance to voice their opinion. The cons, difficultly getting the public to understand the future financial and reputational risks. The community board's options are limited to 1, 2, or 3, and the public submissions get outweighed by the need for essential works to proceed.
Recommendation reflects option 2, doesn't it?
Yeah. All right.
If any works need to be done, so they want to leave the trees there and they're building the seawall, when it's ratepayers paying for that, they're paying not the public. And the public can be able to consult them. People like us, I know I love trees, I don't want them to pull out. We did have one report from a guy in New France, so last time we took about it and he said, I think they need to come out, but we don't really want to come because it's so long. But you know, paying for the new seawall.
I think, yeah, I think recommendation two is that we carry out a 3-week public consultation process, consult.
Clarify, so under the recommendation item three, perhaps that could be reworded to say that the traffic committee board approves recommended option two.
Yep.
So that does.
Oh, I don't, yeah,
That's what I would.
yeah.
Option two is, it seems to me, and that fits in with that staff recommendation, I think.
No, good point. Thank you, Richard. Okay. Well, board members, the proposal is, the motion is that the Kāwhia Community Board approves option 2, which is a 3-week consultation period on the removal of the timber hudakawa trees planted on top of the seawall along Puawi Street, Kāwhia, and staff provide a further report with submissions for a final decision on the removal of the trees once submissions are considered. Do we have a mover for that? When do you, oh, sorry, Paul, when do you think that consultation period might start? When do you think that committee, well, it's sort of this meeting. Item 26, the item 27, page 31, which is Aotea sharing shed. Do I have to remove myself from this or pass it on to the deputy chair? Or yours? I don't have to read it. Yes. Oh, I can't talk to it.
Want to give it a new name? I was looking for sheep.
Oh, we've applied, sorry, not us, Aotea's applied for a pātaka claim, someone, it came through as a sharing shed, but it's definitely a pātaka.
And I have, sorry.
Tēnā tātou, kia ora. Just while Chair, conflict of interest, I'll take the chair, and I'll just give the time to Jared to give the report, please.
Thank you, through you, Chair. I'll take my report as read, but just give you a quick brief once over. So there was a request from the Aotea Ratepayers Association. The biggest thing to look at this is a project
Yep, I have. Well done, and the fact that it's not going to cost the ratepayers anything is even better. But I just have one area of concern, and I see the position here, you're going to look after it, you're going to maintain it and all the rest of it. But at the end of the day, you're going to put a small concrete pad down and put the shed up, and a photo of the shed, so it's going to be a couple of posts in the ground, isn't it? If it all turns to custard and everyone loses interest, I hope that the Aotea ratepayers are going to remove it all as well. I don't want the council to have to pay to remove it, because they're going to have to remove the concrete pad.
The concrete pad could easily stay. It would be, the final position would be agreed upon with council input, that lining it up with bollards means you're not going to have a concrete pad in the middle of a reserve, in the middle of nowhere. So it wouldn't take any more maintenance to if the shed was removed with the concrete pad there.
Okay, so this is the wording that the traffic community board accept option one. Approve the Aotea Ratepayers Association to install a sharing shed on Lawton Drive under the conditions set out in 4.2 of this report. Okay, can I have a mover? Thank you, James, and a second, Richard. Everybody happy? Say aye. Well done. Thank you, Jared.
Well presented, Jared. Thank you.
Oh, yes, and I'll hand the chair back to you, Chief President.
Thank you. Well chaired, Board Member Hugh. Information only report, item 28 is the initial seismic assessment of the Kāwhia Community Centre, which is on page 37. I have read that report, scanned it, but the long and short of it is that the community hall is safe. It's in the right in the middle in category C, which is a moderate risk, and that's legally acceptable. Tony, do you want to talk to it, or is
Yeah. One thing I thought might be worth checking with the government board is the recommendation of the engineer is to follow up with you correct the hall is 50%.
You mentioned the cost of the seismic report. I didn't catch it.
So it's
20?
around about $20,000.
But from what I can, reading the report, the hall's safe. Okay.
Well,
But we
I
can-
read the
but-
report, I think it's absolutely safe. I don't want us to spend 20 grand on a seismic report, and I don't want us to spend any money doing some of those structural changes that they talked about. So I think the hall's just fine and dandy. and we
Board
should be
members,
happy
any other views, board members, on a $20,000 structural report? No,
It's not part of the.
no, it's not. Yeah. Okay, I'll move that the report be accepted. Have a second?
Second.
Yep. Board members, Hugh. Public excluded, there are no reports. No public excluded, they're all gone. Anyway. Board member updates. To my left.
Okay. I attended the public meeting for the forestry. It was a pretty good meeting, really. There were a couple of questions there that I didn't really understand why they were being asked, but I thought it was good information. They spread it out and told everyone what was going on, so I thought it was pretty good. I have been involved with the health initiative that's happening up at the end of my street. And Mike Edwards has told me that he would like to come and attend a community board meeting and give an update. But I'd like to, they have in my opinion, they're doing a wonderful job. They have a Kaumatua program. They have a list of programs for every day of the week. The Kaumatua program, I was lucky enough to get myself involved and went to a nice cooking lesson down at Makatū, which was really, really good. But they wish to get involved with the community garden. And my question is that they wish to have a community garden and use raised boxes to grow their vegetables or the garden in. The positioning of that, there is a community garden at the school, but it will be very difficult for elderly and infirm people to get access to it. And that's part of what this community garden that they are wanting to get involved with. So my question is to the board or to the council is something like the pound land, which is right next door to a road, which is relatively flat, would that be available for this group to use as a community garden? And they're only doing raised boxes. It's not a ploughed up field or anything like this here. My other question is, if the pound situation wasn't available to them, what's the community or the council's position on roadside berms? Because Kāwhia has some wonderful big areas, 20, 30 metres wide and stretching for a long way, that you could establish a couple of community gardens that you could come off the road, the elderly could come off and look after them. There would be a problem of water for them, but I suspect if you spoke to house owners and they were happy for that to be established outside their property, and that berms are council property, for want of a better term.
Well, could I suggest?
So I would like us to do some investigation into that, of whether it's, if there's anything prohibiting that from occurring, or if an area like the pound was available to them.
Could I suggest that after the meeting, you have a wee word with the man directly behind you, Jared Fleming? He's parks. Okay?
Yep.
That's a good idea, Richard.
Yep. And I have some more that I'd like to think. The garden monument was picked up and delivered. That was the end of my job. It's now become Dave's job. So unless you want a hand, Dave. So with the monument was there. The contracts that were brought up, the outsourcing of these contracts going out of Kāwhia, that's a real problem for me. I'll be quite honest with you. I know there's the council can't go and tell someone how to fill out a contract or how to put in to thing, but the council can give advice so that these people can apply in the right manner and get their actual financials right, so that they are competitive. I feel very sorry for Ray on the basis that when he first got the job, the contract was, he was assisted by someone else. This time that they've done that contract, they did it under their own steam, and they appear to have done it a little bit wrong. So it would be good if there was a contact in the council, like a wellbeing officer or whatever else, that doesn't put them in conflict about in a conflict about tender prices or anything else, that was able to assist folk to do that sort of stuff. And with that in mind, Jeff.
Yeah. Here.
With that in mind, this group that's running the health initiative, they have WINS or MSD or whatever coming in on a Friday to talk to people who go up there and all this. They've had dentists, they have doctors, they have all sorts going up there. And they have mentioned to me that it might be a good thing if the council was able to get a representative to those Friday meetings on the odd occasion. If we did have a thing, it's a damn shame we didn't put the van in on the long-term plan, because that would have been ideal. But so I do think, you know, that if we've got locals in there that are trying to do business, then surely we should be able to try and get council to help them do business.
Well, certainly, yeah, if we put them, it's only a matter of putting people with people, eh? You know, it's like, yeah.
And my other issue that I'm asking is that with the cowboy races and all the rest of it, I've been going around and seeing what's going on and trying to talk to people and all the rest of it. A couple of comments have come to me that have caused me a little bit of concern. And there's a belief within this town that the cameras, especially the camera up at the garage, has audio capabilities. And I want that looked at, because that's an invasion of our privacy or an invasion of our whatever. And that's not a council, it's not a police thing. I think it's run by that group in Tiamuta, what do you call it? Something watch.
I'm not too sure about that.
But I don't, but so these are monitored. Yeah. Okay, but they're monitored by an outside group, not council and not police as near as I can say.
They are monitored by police, and police only. I can assure you of that.
I would like to clarify that so I can answer people's...
I can clarify that. It's monitored by police only. So that thing about being monitored by one in town is not true, not correct.
So it's not connected to that transmitter system, because that transmitter system is monitored by police personnel.
No, it's monitored by police here.
And is there audio?
I don't know about that. I don't know. Oh, if it's like a good security system, it'll come on when there's movement, so.
But you know, if it is monitored, and if it is audio, then people should know that. That's what I'm saying.
There's, like, we have to be careful about monitoring. There's no one sitting there looking at it, okay? But I know that it's been used to identify what cars came in that created that mess down there, okay? I can't speak for the audio. I can't see any advantage of having audio with the system. What would the advantage of having a camera that's got audio? I've got cameras that I know I monitor and yeah. Well, yes, well, they thought it was monitored in Taumuri too, so put them straight, okay, if you can. So I can guarantee it's not monitored in Taumuri. And I can't speak for the audio, but I can't see any advantage in having a camera picking up a car going past with the noise of it, so.
And
No,
I haven't finished with my report yet.
we need to be careful about what sort of, so she'll be brought up as a agenda item.
The
board members.
very engagement that we've got that. Yeah. We've got anyway. I would like to see us try to give some direction about this issue about the Maori wards. Okay, and the direction I would like to see.
Richard, when things need to be as an agenda item rather than a report on what you've done around the place, you know, and I appreciate that you can have some great ideas, but if you've got great ideas, well, bring them to the board as an agenda item.
I can live with that.
Thank you.
I will bring it at the next meeting.
Yeah.
And one other issue I have.
No, just make sure if it's an agenda item, you run it through the government.
Yeah,
And if they think it's an appropriate agenda item, it'll be on.
And the other thing is I have been trying to get myself a little bit fit, and I've been going for walks on the road. Who is responsible for the roadside rubbish once you leave Kāwhia Township? Is it the council or is it?
Infomax. Infomax? That's a state highway.
It's there's an amazing amount of roadside rubbish, man.
Well,
amazing amount.
Use a tino for that, because that's a contract issue, and if the contractor's not performing, then put it on a tino. Get it registered. Get it logged. Because that's Fulton Hogan run the roadside rubbish contract, but they subcontracted out of Infomax.
They used to have a person full-time there on the council doing it, a lady with, just great clean, but then they finished the contract.
Yeah, I remember that. She was doing everything, wasn't she? Yeah. I think then it became a health and safety issue or something, didn't it? I'm not too sure.
I've managed to score myself a spinner, a knife, and $1 coin so far, but I didn't want to pick up any of the other rubbish.
Thank you for your updates. Board member.
No problem, Jeffrey.
Chair.
The community garden thing, since they're going to make them raise planters, wouldn't they be better off to start at the house, Sarah? Put some out the back there? With your idea about the planters, you're saying about having raised beds for them to do it. Would they be better off just to start some of them up where they are and their health? People coming up, it's a good place.
I'm raising it because it was raised with me. It's not my idea.
Yeah.
And I'm only taking their suggestions, Dave. I think they want to do quite large, but there's no room up there unless you allow them to put them at your place.
Board members, we do have an expert sitting over there, so if you've got some ideas, please you grab him while he's here, okay? Because I'm sure you'll be happy to stay there as long as you have one. Thank you. Okay. Board member Walsh.
Okay, just quick update on what's been happening with regard to the sports thing. Had some good news today after a lot of being mucked around and being told that the insurance money wasn't ours and the building wasn't ours and cleaners are going to be taken over and everything. It's had a bit of discussions the other week with the staff involved, and they were saying they're worried about us and our costs and how we will do this and blah blah. But I think it's been 6 months since we had our first meeting with them about our lease. The cost of gone up by 20% in that 6 months. So the material, increasing our costs that they're worried about. We won't have the cost. But anyway, we finally got in terms of reference today.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And we also heard back fortunately on the same day from the construction company we're going to use, the sheet company for the cuts. And things seem to be also increasing because it's been held up for a long time, you know. They're saying that at least we did apply for it with them a couple of months after it went down. We told, oh, it's just a formality. And we'll have it all up and going. And now it's 2 years, 2.5 years later, we're still trying to get our lease formalised. Because we were sort of also told, we got told one meeting, we can't build on it until we've got a lease, and we couldn't get a lease unless we had a building. Which is what?
You got a resolution for that though, didn't you? Yeah, good.
Got the two today as a draft. Still a state council, but yeah, we actually got that. It's a big step.
Big slog, isn't it?
We've got a limited amount of fund, but our costings that we've got so far seem to think that we can pretty much pull in with what we've got, along with what we have some donations from members. Not just money, but also stuff like tables, chairs, drill units, still right. So members are still right behind us and pulling in to get it happen.
No.
So we can just see it being an asset.
Well, it was an asset previously, wasn't it? So it's going to be still going to be. Oh, well done. There's a lot of hard work in front of you, but you're doing well. Board member Few, sorry.
I'm very agreeable with Daisy. I know we've got new contractors and there's a process in that, but I personally don't think they do a crap job. The finisher can nowhere near what our last guys been doing, and you can just walk up the park up to past the road and just see the finished up there. People don't go, we need them just like go wrong.
I take your comments on board, and as I say, there's performance criteria within the contract, and rest assured there's lots of rights on there. But if you go out there today and have a look, there's a hell of an effort going on with it. Is there anything else, Board Member Folk? No. Board Member Few. Thank you.
First of all, I just want to share that we've moved into our new home last week. As I shared with the board a year ago, we had our house fire. But I especially just want to say thank you to the Aotearoa District Council for your support and help during the process, especially to Tony with the resource consent. I really appreciate your help, Tony. You made our life a lot happier with the process, making it a lot easier for us, and also to the rates team. They helped us a lot too. We were in credit and we were able to tap into that as well. So the process with the council went really well. I just want to say thank you from Maud and I and our whānau. It was a big help. Secondly, I attended the blessing of the whenua at TKI before the trucks started felling the trees, and then we came over here with the contractors and a little bit of history on the first. There's a word for it that they call it, the felling of the trees, but there is a word that when you're in the timber world that they use. I can't remember it, but it was really interesting. Up there, they actually sawed one of the trees in the first lot, and they've got a list of the local people that were there then, and then we did it again. And Hummel actually cut down one of the trees again to start the felling process. So yeah, that was the blessing of the whenua out at the forestry here. I also attended the AGM, the Huia Tau for the wharetonga o Kāwhia, and supported Jeanette and the crew there too. So that was a good hui as well to attend to. Fourthly, I just want to mention just busy working on the Tainui game. This is our biggest tribal event, and a lot of our marae within the Kāwhia Harbour will be involved. And this is happening in 2025, when a lot of our whānau will come back to Hopu Hopu, Manu Bay and Turanga Waiwai grounds to participate in the Tainui game. So in the last games, it's a biannual event. The last games we had 50,000 of our tribal whānau come back. And just listening to some of the kōrero this afternoon about bringing whānau back, that was one good way. This is a good way of bringing our whānau back, is when we get together and we play sport. Lastly, I just want to mention that Tony and I were working on the road sign that I've been bringing back to the board with visuals. And before, not Tony, Andrew. See, you already got Tony. Andrew and I were working together on the road sign, and he rang me up in his last week, and he managed. Tony will probably give him more of an update, and I see the sign is up as you come into the Kāwhia Otaronga tunnel. I haven't actually been on the other side of because there's two signs, one this side and one north and one south. So I'm really happy that that whole process came to fruition. And that's my report. Nō reira tēnā tātou.
Thank you, Board Member Few.
Yeah, just my updates. I had picked this up from Andrew.
This is not a board member update, but it's an update regarding your subject, yeah.
So there's still one sign to go up on the corner of State Highway 3139. Wakakate have got back to us. They appear to have confirmed the colours of the sign and some around the colours. But they just want some more information around location. So I've asked for some more information on that. So I'll be back once it's confirmed.
Thank you.
And just to comment on your hard work, both Andrews and Tony's with the signs. It stands out, the north one, that's for sure. I haven't gone past the Otaronga one yet, but if it's as good as the south one, I'll go the long way to Hamilton one time. Okay? Just quick ones from me. I attended the King's Tangihanga on behalf of the community board, and with all the other mayors around the town that was around the district that had turned up, and that was a special occasion. I'll always respect the chance that I had to do it as your representative. I also went to the Local Government New Zealand conference in Wellington with Councillor Kit Jeffries. And that was a very interesting experience, actually. And I just want to say, when I talked to other community board members down there, they were quite surprised at the level of engagement that our community board has with our council. And when I told them that we were involved in the long-term plans and things like that, they were quite surprised, because a lot of community boards don't get that. So they're going to use little Otaronga as a bit of a sounding board to go and push things. And we're lucky in that we're encapsulated as a town. I talked to the guy, like say Sapatoni Community Board. He said it's difficult for him to get community around him, because it just flows on into Lower Hutt, and it flows on to Ipuni and flows on. But he says, you guys are so lucky that you're a Kāwhia, and that you're a town, you're identifiable, and Otaronga as a town, their community board is identifiable. So just appreciate just how much involvement we have in our decision making process around here. We'll get more. But the one thing I took from that is, and it was the mayor of Whangarei, Moko, not too sure. But he made a very good point, a very valid point, because I think he was involved in about 5 or 6 community boards up and around that area, around the far north, that reported into them. And he said he doesn't feel that community board member is the right descriptor for what community boards do, what community board members do. He felt that there'd be more mana if community boards were called community councillors rather than board members. And I could actually understand that, because mana's an important thing in the far north, and mana's an important thing around anywhere. So it's just something that I'm throwing into the mix. And I know it's a long mix, but yeah, that was one thing I did take away from it. We represent a town here, isn't it?
And do we have more push as members, or do we have more push as councillors? And my little penny's worth there. Thank you for your support on the Pātaka Kai. How's our Pātaka Kai going?
I knew that was going to come up.
I have a good design.
It's a work in progress.
Well, I have a very good design if you want to come and see me. Huh?
Yep.
Come and see me. And I just want to acknowledge once again Andrew Lowe. I mean, he was still driving through Aotea last week, putting up bloody tsunami signs. I said, it's the day you retire the next day, mate. You know, what are you worried about tidal waves? So Andrew, if you're listening, I know you might be, right? But thank you very much. Board members, thank you very much for your updates. Here. Oh, yeah, sorry, carry on.
So civil defence centres are like the community centre, welfare centre during the week. That's kind of work in progress. So the thinking was that this could be an alternate, but Waipapa Marae is the primary one because that's a little bit elevated. It's getting some solar there as well. And there's a bit of a process to go through where there's a welfare committee that goes around and identifies the areas that are suitable. And so Waipapa Marae has already identified this is an alternative. So they can both be used interchangeably.
And we're going away from school completely.
Yeah, that wasn't thought suitable just for various reasons for CDC itself.
When you read that seismic report, board member, if you Walsh, you can see the advantage that it has here. It's actually quite a solid building. Yeah, with waves, yeah. But remember the tsunamis will come from, it doesn't come from. So.
We can bring a report on the confirmed civil defence sentence. I think that's important.
And I read in that report there's Starlink here now, is there?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a Starlink.
Darling.
Yeah, that super duper bloody Elton Musk bloody internet. Okay? So it's whiz bang stuff.
That's not at the library anymore, it's here, or is it both been done?
Oh no, Starlink has been installed here for the civil defence purposes. Okay, yeah, so it's still going out there. I shouldn't imagine they'll be passing out the password for this one. Well, I hope not. Anyway, I know how much Starlink costs to run. Thank you for your updates, board members. Board projects, it says here Kāwhia storyboards, but we're well, unless you've got something new on that.
I spoke with, through you, Mr. Chair, I spoke with Frank Thorne and work in progress, but also caught up with Andrew in the last week, and he mentioned to me that the storyboards out at Raglan, Whangaroa, they just got, they were blessed and they are open now, but he liked the look. I was going to pop out there just to have a look. So now we're in the stage of what it will look like. So if it's okay with the rest of the board members, I'll continue looking and I'll bring some information back to the board for all of us to have a look at.
Great. Thank you for that. The community board discretionary fund. We've got the application from Kāwhia Kai, Kāwhia Moana Kai. They have asked for $2,000. We've got $5,000 in the fund, and that is $5,000 excluding GST. So my recommendation would be that I'd like to put that we approve a grant of $2,000, which will be including GST. We got tripped up before with the GST on that. So I'd like to. Is there anyone wants to speak to the discretionary fund proposal? Yeah.
So I mentioned when the presentation, when the report or the letter was read out at the public forum, these days, when you apply for anything, you don't just ask for a sum of money. You need, like for myself, I'm just wanting it noted that it would be good to note down what that is, what it's going towards. But also, my ears pricked up when I heard, the funding is, they may get the whole lot from TKI. They also got funding from the Autonomous Development Board. So when you, because I sit on some community, some grant funding board, and we always ask, have you applied anywhere else? So all of those factors, I just think, I'm in support for, giving some tutia. But it's just that the way it's been presented, it could be presented a lot with more detail. And I also felt that it was, reading the letter, it was kind of like their right to receive it. And, that's not the case. As well as, you know, like there's a way of presenting.
Yeah, and that's why I mentioned to Liz, it probably would have been best that he left out a line.
And also, sorry, Dave, also just to keep in mind for the board that we have just renewed our fund and it doesn't get renewed again until
July next year, yeah.
July next year. So we just don't know what other, we're not a funding agency, we're not a funding.
We're a discretionary fund for Kāwhia events, yeah, so I mean, I must have, yeah.
So when, I would like to see that if groups are coming to us asking for some funding discretionary fund, we had more detail. Otherwise, we're just giving $2,000 without content.
Yeah.
Go on with that, a few years back, was David Cookland was still there then, and our meeting, and the Club Festival Committee, I think you guys had left, and they were coming asking us every year for grants, and we came to this thing that we can't give you money all the time, so hold some of your money back for next year's festival, and then they would give it all away, and then come to us wanting money for next year. And we actually said no, and they got quite upset. But we said, well, we did tell you, you know, don't give it all away because you're going to need some to run the next one because we can't just keep funding you continuously. I'm all for giving the money at the moment to get it kicked off again.
Yeah. Because every discretionary fund application can have the scrutiny. Right. So we can have the scrutiny next year too.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I would support as well, but don't keep on coming back to the community board asking for tutia every year. Like Dave said, and like from experience, which I shared with everybody, is that we put in a plan in place that we didn't have to go asking for funds all the time. And hopefully there's a bigger plan in place.
Yeah, yeah. And as I say,
Just one thought. If you have any concerns, you could make it a provisional grant. So you could say provisionally we'll set aside 2,000 subject to, or in the event that you don't get the full funding.
I like that.
So well, that's why I asked Hannah the question, you know, what happens if it doesn't go ahead?
What did you say then?
So you could make a provisional grant whereby you set aside $2,000. So you basically ring fencing that. If they don't get sufficient funding, then you can release that. But it signals to them that they've got some backup funding there if they need it.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I do like that idea because there are avenues that they are trying to get the funding, apply for funding, and TKI did come up quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I was on, you know.
Can I?
Here to say that they've applied to Oklahoma Community Grant and applied for $4,870 and will be known on the 16th of October.
I've got the same email here, so.
And I said that
Yeah.
for the fund as well. That was due on 30th September, so I'm not sure if that application's gone through.
Through the chair. I don't want to see that fund that we have become a grant so that everyone applies after the day it's open and it's all gone. So I don't want to be part of it. But do we need a criteria? This, do we need to do that and then get that out into the general public somehow? I have no problem with the request for $2,000, but I do have sympathy for what everyone's saying is the fact that it would be better if it was itemised, and it would be better if there was an understanding they didn't come back every year or every second year. Don't forget this is seed money because they're trying to start it up. So that's a little bit of a different spin on things.
So one avenue here is Tony's approach when we make a provisional grant. The other one is to actually, you've got time to go back to this group and not ask them for
screens of paper or that, but just a simple, what do you like, what do you think?
Yeah.
And what are the information. So we don't want to make it too onerous for them, we don't want to have them filling in forms, but maybe you've got a couple of questions that you might like us to go back to them and clarify, and then we can bring that back to you. In terms of a process, Kāwhia did develop a little kind of cheat sheet for board to use, and we were going to make that available online even so that we could see that and it was transparent. What was required.
Well, and I felt then that if there was something online that you could fill out to apply for discretionary funding, we'd be bombarded. You know, and I'd rather have this scrutiny, you know, at our level, you know, because scrutiny is good. There's a lot of history at this table, you know, with a lot of knowledge on what's been there and done that. Okay? So I'm new. I'm well, not new, but I only ever used to collect the money at the Kāwhia Kai, so I don't know the mechanics of it. So, what would you say? Suggest that subject to these answers? Yeah. Would we be out of line asking for financials at the end of the event? No? Will we need to? Do we need to do that? Have you? Because it's 20% of our fund, isn't it? More, yeah. More than 20. Yeah. 40. 40%. 40%. 40%. If we, yeah. Advice, Tanya? Yeah. December. Yeah. And I do acknowledge your concerns with the way it was worded. Yeah. But I think, yeah. But I think that was more inexperience than, I don't know.
That doesn't come, that's not.
Yeah, people. Yeah. Well, board member Harper, I've run out of words. Board member Walsh, would you like to put a motion? Yeah, and how would you like to word that they have an opportunity to come back? Just, well, we don't have to do that really, do we? No. Okay. The motion is from board member Walsh that we give them initial funding of $1,000 inclusive of GST. Remember that gives us a little bit more to give away. Initial, we put that word initial in. Yeah. Okay.
Chair, I'd like to just put forward what David just proposed.
Yeah.
I think let's just do it that way and then done.
Yeah, without that. Right, just a.
I would like to give them the $2,000 because they're trying to get it up and running off the ground this year and restart it. I don't want to put any sort of bad vibes into the situation, but I do think that we can ask for clarity on the $2,000. I don't want it to be perceived that we're not, you know, we're not joining the party, for want of a better term. And so, but I do think I agree with you about that. I've quite read it and thought, wow, but.
Well, I think
that could just be the letter writer, not the gist of the whole thing.
If we explain that it is 40% of our funding, you know, into one event. Yeah.
From the public purse, they're giving you a good rate. And that's what they say, they want 15 grand, sounds like they're going to get nearly half of the councils.
And for you, Mr. Chair.
You know, corporate
Yes,
The
that's
forest
right.
down there.
And Hunnell did mention that they've got a, from the last,
TKI.
no, from the last,
Yeah.
carry on from the last committee, they've got a 4,000 and something to start off with.
Okay, there's a motion on the table. Motion from Board Walsh is that the Kāwhia Community Board grants $1,000, including GST, out of the Community Board Discretionary Fund. And we have a seconder for that? Seconder, board member, all those in favour? All right. Okay. Carry.
I'm abstaining.
Would you like us to register that?
Yep. I'd like to.
Board
I
member-
just,
Okay.
yep.
Yeah, Board Member Harper wishes to record as absence from the vote.
When did you have the first one? What year was that? 2004.
2004.
And-
Yeah.
So, just for clarification, 2014 was the OG, the original Kāwhia Kai Festival, and then the next one came in, and this is the third.
Right. It is good to start it up again. That's right. Moving on and resolution.
Could I just make one other point?
Yeah.
I felt quite, well, not aggrieved, but I was disappointed the fact that we gave the money towards the Move Your Bum Festival, and we never got a report back, did we? So if we're going to do it this year, I would like us to have some expectation that they're going to give us a report back.
Well, that's expectations that we can create our own expectations around our funding. So yeah. So we can do that. Yes. And I agree with you. It's nice to have, when Kelly Dockery came back and told us what they've done.
Yeah, we've just about every other group has.
Yeah.
And so, and I don't think it's untoward for us to ask for a report.
I don't disagree.
Just for through you, Mr. Chair, for clarification, Richard, it was Move Your Tinana.
Sorry.
What is it? Yeah. Okay. Right, resolution register on page 2. It's the second to last page. And that's just an ongoing one, that one. That's still tied up in the concept plan. The asset management plan for the wharf structure, that's part of the concept plan. Okay? Let's keep it in there, okay? Right. No further business. I'll ask board member Few to give us the closing calc here.
Tēnā tātou katoa, tēnā koe te tiamana, e whakahaere koe te hui e nei, tēnā koe tēne whakarai tāngua, whai te kipi a koe o tēnā, no le tēnā tātou katoa. I thought this afternoon, the words arrived here for our both opening and closing meeting. We may say it together, and we'll do our real Māori, and then we'll go into our English. Ka pai? Toru whā, mā te whakapono, mā te tumanako, mā te titiro, mā te whakarongo, mā te mahitahi, mā te aroa, kai i tātou. By believing and trusting, by having faith and hope, by looking and searching, by listening and hearing, by working and striving together, by all being done with compassion, we will succeed.
Before I formally close the meeting, soon, I'd just like to thank you, Tony, for your input today. We're looking forward to I've got plenty of nudges from you. Kathy, thank you very much for your help there. Okay, great. And Tanya, good to see you in the net. And Jared, good of you to stay behind. Rebecca and Dave, thank you very much. I close the meeting in harmony at 5:45. Thank you, people. Don't use stuff. Are we turned off? Turned off.